What if the very companies designed to heal us are also designed to keep us sick? The pharmaceutical industry sits at the center of one of the most uncomfortable ethical debates of our time. On one hand, these corporations create life-saving drugs, vaccines, and breakthrough therapies. On the other hand, they generate billions in profits, sometimes while patients struggle to afford the very medicines that could save their lives. Are pharmaceutical companies fulfilling their fiduciary duty to shareholders, or failing their moral duty to humanity? Today, we unpack the billion-dollar dilemma shaping the future of global health. Let's begin with a real case. Consider the hepatitis C drug Sovaldi, developed by Gilead Sciences. When Sovaldi was introduced in 2013, it was revolutionary. It could cure hepatitis C, not just treat it. A medical breakthrough. But the price? $84,000 for a 12-week course in the United States. Governments struggled. Insurance companies hesitated. Millions of patients in low and middle-income countries were effectively locked out. Now here's the ethical tension. Pharmaceutical companies argue that high prices reflect massive R&D investments, clinical trial risks, regulatory compliance costs, failed drug pipelines. After all, bringing a new drug to market can cost billions and take over a decade. But critics argue, if a drug can cure a life-threatening disease, should access depend on income level? Is medicine a commodity, or a human right?
Let's examine the corporate side. Pharmaceutical executives are legally bound by fiduciary duties. They must act in the best interest of shareholders. That means maximizing long-term value. Without profit incentives, investors wouldn't fund high-risk research. Breakthrough innovations might never happen. Small biotech startups wouldn't survive clinical failures. Take the rapid development of COVID-19 vaccines. Companies like Pfizer and Moderna delivered vaccines in record time. This wasn't purely altruism. It was backed by market incentives, patent protections, advanced purchase agreements, public-private partnerships. Supporters argue, profit is not the enemy of innovation, it is the engine of it. Without the promise of return, there is no risk-taking. And without risk-taking, there is no medical progress. So the question becomes, if we cap profits too aggressively, do we slow down the next life-saving breakthrough?
Now let's flip the lens. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, wealthy nations secured the majority of early vaccine supplies. Meanwhile, lower-income countries waited. The global initiative COVAX was designed to ensure equitable distribution. But supply shortages and bilateral deals complicated the mission. Critics argued, public money funded much of the vaccine research. Shouldn't the public receive equitable access in return? Another example, insulin. Despite being discovered over a century ago, insulin prices in some countries remain extremely high. The original inventors famously sold the patent for $1, believing insulin belonged to humanity. Yet today, a handful of corporations dominate global insulin markets. Here's the ethical challenge. Patents protect innovation, but monopolies can restrict access. Market exclusivity drives research, but it can also delay generics. Global health advocates argue that essential medicines should not be treated like luxury goods. They call for compulsory licensing, tiered pricing models, patent waivers during emergencies, greater transparency in R&D costs. They frame health not as a market transaction, but as a moral obligation.
So are we trapped in a binary? Profit versus people? Not necessarily. Some hybrid solutions are emerging. Tiered pricing, charging wealthier nations more while offering discounts to lower-income countries. Public-private partnerships to de-risk early-stage research. Advanced market commitments for neglected diseases. ESG frameworks that pressure companies to balance profit with social responsibility. There's also growing investor activism. Many institutional investors now evaluate pharmaceutical firms not just on revenue, but on access policies and ethical governance. The debate is shifting from, should companies make money? To, how much profit is ethically justified when lives are at stake? Let's confront the uncomfortable realities. If pharmaceutical companies become purely humanitarian organizations, innovation may stall. But if they prioritize shareholder returns without constraint, millions may be excluded from care. So we're left with a deeper systemic issue. Is the problem Big Pharma itself? Or the global economic framework in which it operates? Because in a capitalist system, corporations are built to generate returns. Perhaps the real ethical challenge is designing policies that align profit incentives with global health outcomes, instead of forcing them into opposition. The future of medicine will not be decided in laboratories alone. It will be shaped in boardrooms, parliaments, courtrooms, and international negotiations. Big Pharma walks a moral tightrope between fiduciary duty and human dignity. The real question is, can we redesign the system so that saving lives is also the most profitable strategy? Or are we destined to keep choosing between shareholder value and global health equity? So now we turn it to you. Are you team profit, believing innovation requires strong financial incentives? Or team global health, arguing access should always come first? Drop your perspective in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the intersection of law, business, geopolitics, and ethics, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because the future of medicine isn't just scientific, it's political, and it's personal.